When Memorial Continental Hall was built, some of the states, including Texas, secured the privilege of finishing and furnishing various rooms, and much thought was expended to make them beautiful. Since 1910, the first Texas room was located in the same room where it is currently located on the second floor of the hall. However, the society steadily increased the membership and the volume of business multiplied until the majority of the state's room had been given over to the business of the society. So from 1911 to 1924, the Texas Room served as the office of the corresponding Secretary General, which processed requests for applications and other official papers. It was furnished by the Texas Society as a memorial for Mrs. John Lane Henry, who died while she was serving as state regent. A DAR publication of that time period describes the Texas Room as follows. Quote, "The furniture of solid, substantial character was bought in Texas. The design is plain, but most satisfactory for the needs of the office. An attractive rug is on the floor, and the following pieces of furniture are in the room: a double desk, table desk, typewriter desk, and chair, 3 armchairs, and a filing cabinet. Texas contributions amount to $2,243.19, which includes $800 for the room and $626.30 for the furnishings." End quote. The society's business kept increasing, and the need to have space designed for office use instead of trying to work while protecting the antique furnishings became clear. When the administration building addition was completed in the 1920s, all the business offices moved from Continental Hall to the new office space, and the state rooms reverted back to the state that originally paid for them. Each state was asked to submit a theme for their period room, and Texas proposed one displaying musical instruments. Over a period of time, beautiful musical instruments and furniture befitting an elegant music room were donated by Texas Daughters, as shown by this photo from 1932. Most of the furniture dated from the 19th century and came from metropolitan New York. The most distinctive instrument in the room was a barrel organ in the corner. It was probably made in New York around 1810. When the crank on the front was turned, the barrel, which looks like a music box cylinder, rotates inside. It was an instrument used primarily for parties and dancing. This particular organ played 3 different sets of tunes, including the Prince of Wales Waltz and Light of the Moon. The organ was moved to the West Virginia Room when the Texas Room was reinterpreted in 1982. There was an 1845 letter on the side table written by Sam Houston to his young daughter. The original letter was eventually preserved and placed in the Americana Room. The portrait on the wall by the window was of an early settlement in Texas. It represents Margaret Davenport Ricer, a woman who moved from Pennsylvania to Texas in 1794 to establish a trading post. Her portrait was painted in 1820 to 1830. From 1924 until 1982, the music room received several facelifts and items. In 1951, the room proudly displayed several musical antiques. The dominating elements in the room were doubtless the musical instruments. The harp was an example of the earliest harps made in America. It is made of maple, painted bronze, and dated 1810 to 1840. The antique square pianoforte, an extremely fine piece, was dedicated in April 21st, 1936. It was made by Samuel Nielsen, New York, between 1828 and 1833. The case is rosewood and mahogany with brass trim. Its cabinet work shows heavier legs and ornate stenciling on the name-board. The piano was moved to the Kentucky Room. Map of Spanish Texas circa 1930 to 1950 was given to the museum by TXDAR in 1975 and hangs in the Texas Room to this day. It is a beautiful copy of earlier maps as it has appeared in 1835. The map was conserved, rematted, and reframed in June 2004. In 1982, the Texas Society made the decision to redecorate the room. The room was reinterpreted as a bedroom from the Mews Gant House, which was built in 1863 by a German immigrant. The interior of the house retains its original paint and stenciling from when the house was originally erected in Alleytown, Texas, just 3 miles east of Columbus. The builder, William Mews, is listed in the 1860 census as a merchant. In 1981, the house was relocated to Columbus, where it now still stands. The ribbon cutting for the new room took place on April 20th, 1982. The dedication ceremony took place on April 23rd, 1982 at 3:30 p.m. This slide shows a copy of the invitation to the ceremony as well as a letter and a handwritten note from Barbara Bush, who was the wife of the vice president at that time. What we consider modern-day stenciling was brought to America by early settlers from Europe. The use of stenciling grew through the 18th century and became very popular with the beginning of the industrial age when manufactured furniture and household goods also became available. Prior to the industrial age, hand stenciling was used to simulate wallpapers as well to decorate handmade furniture and to provide patterns to floors. By the 1800s, stenciling had made its way to the Texas frontier. The German influence on Texas art, on decoration, and on furniture making was quite strong. The original stenciling from one of the bedrooms of the historic Mews home was painstakingly reproduced in the Texas Period Room by 2 Texas daughters, Louise Jones and Miriam Jordan of the Betty Martin chapter, who traveled to Washington and contributed their time to do the stenciling in the room. They employed the same techniques as used in the 1700s and 1800s. All the work was done by hand from the cutting of the stencils to the application on the wall and was completed in the summer of 1981. The beautiful stenciling is the focal point of this bedroom. All the furnishings donated or on loan in the Texas room are from the period of 1850 until 1870 in 2004. The big bed was made of pine in Washington County, Texas, between 1882 and 1900, descended in the E.J. Munnelbrad family. Below the big bed is a trundle bed also made out of pine and from Texas. There is also a Biedermeier cradle next to the bed, just waiting for a baby. A rawhide seated chair whose provenance mentions that Davy Crockett once sat in it. Texas daughters have created several blankets through the years to use in the room. Many quilts have flower and fruit baskets filled with spring and summer bounty, but the current quilt, created by Mary Sneed of Waco, Texas, is filled with apples and grapes more suggestive of early fall. Oranges round out the design and add color. All are lightly stuffed. Green embroidery creates the grapes tendrils, and Mary used her new sewing machine to outline the lines of the basket weave print, giving the woven design a realistic 3D quality. The quilt was donated to the Texas Room by Texas daughter Martha Hirsch. The lovely dressing table mirror, circa 1840 to 1850, donated by Pamela Rouse Wright in March of 2004. It is an American-made mahogany with mahogany veneers and white pine as a secondary wood. Also residing in the Texas Room is a chest of drawers that was conserved by Texas Daughters in 2004 in honor of then State Regent Donna Raymond. $5,340 was spent to refurbish the stunning piece. The chest is made of mahogany, maple, poplar, and white pine and is circa 1835. Its feet are carved, it has figured veneers, and is of the neoclassical style and was made in New York City. Atop the chest is a bouquet of wonderful Texas wildflowers reproduced in lifelike silk. The painted box, possibly Wendell, Texas, in 19th century. It is painted and nailed together with flat, round nail heads. In metallic paint, the name Louise Wunderlich is painted on the front in script. Louise lived in the country near Wendell. She kept her Bible in this box. Of particular interest is the wardrobe, or Kleiderschrank, an essential element in this closetless bedroom. Middle-class ladies of leisure in the 1800s didn't get dressed first thing in the morning, but often just put a wrapper over their nightgown while eating breakfast and perhaps for the whole morning. The 1830s cotton print on the left is completely loose, while the 1840s wool print on the right is a little more shaped, but not confining. Both open all the way down the front, indicating their informal use, but have sleeves that have the period's fashionable shape, the leg of mutton for 1830 to 1835, and slightly flared sleeve with a decorative cap sleeve at the shoulder for the late 1840s. The wrapper on the right was donated to the Texas Room by Sandy Bassett and Stephen Porterfield, textile appraiser for the Antiques Roadshow. This child's chair with a doll and scrap fabric balls are waiting in the basket. There is a crockery jar from Texas Potters, a reed desk with a center drawer that opens, and German books on the desk. Also in the Texas Room is a magnificent 1860s sewing machine by the Wilcox Company that is visiting our room, as well as two beautifully painted and stenciled green chairs from the mid-1800s. Such items from the core museum collection, along with the outstanding furnishing that already resided in the Texas Room, enhance our ability to tell the story of what it was really like to live in Texas in the mid-1800s. A carved wooden seal of Texas resides above the entryway to the Texas Room. The seal contains a star of 5 points encircled by olive and live oak branches. The seal was originally enacted by the First Congress of the Republic of Texas when President Sam Houston signed it into law on December 10, 1816. At that point, it said the Republic of Texas. The wording changed to the State of Texas when Texas became a state in 1845. The Texas Period Room is a jewel in the DAR Museum in Washington, D.C. Many articles have been written by major trade publications, and many awards have been given to the DAR Museum. Almost all of these articles and awards mention specifically the Texas Period Room, praising its authenticity. It took great courage for the Texas Daughters to recreate such a room that has become one of the major attractions in the museum, as well as a wonderful teaching tool for all ages.